The Secret of the Last Letter. Russia, 1812. Napoleon's army has been holding Moscow for weeks. The city is ablaze, the streets are empty. French patrols roam the ruins, and Russian scouts lurk in the shadows, preparing for the decisive blow. In one of the surviving mansions, hidden behind old books, was an ancient chest. It belonged to Count Dmitry Orlov, who left Moscow just before the arrival of the French, going to Kutuzov. The chest contained correspondence that could change the course of the war. In the fall of 1812, Moscow turned into a ghost town. After Napoleon entered the capital, most of its residents fled, taking with them only the bare necessities. Count Orlov, a patriot and former military man, knew that it was dangerous to remain in the city. But one thing kept him: letters hidden in a chest in his library. These letters were part of a secret correspondence between Russian nobles dissatisfied with the rule of Alexander I and the French command. The Count had once been involved in a conspiracy, but realizing its perniciousness, decided to pass the letters on to Kutuzov to expose the traitors. However, his plans were thwarted by an unexpected order. The night before the French entered Moscow, the Count had to leave urgently, and he did not have time to pick up the chest. He left it in the care of his faithful servant Andrei, who now had the heavy responsibility of keeping the secret and not allowing it to fall into enemy hands. On the same day that the Count left Moscow, French soldiers entered his mansion. At the head of the detachment was Captain Jules Beauvais, a young but experienced officer. He was part of the reconnaissance corps, which was ordered to identify possible ambushes and weapons caches. Walking through the spacious halls of the mansion, Beauvais came across the library. His attention was drawn to expensive books in Russian and French. Suspecting that they might contain secret documents, he ordered his soldiers to search the shelves. When one of his men accidentally pushed a massive cabinet, it moved slightly, revealing a hiding place behind it. There, covered in dust, stood a chest. Beauvais immediately realized that he had found something important. "Open it!" he ordered. But before the soldiers could approach, Andrei burst into the room. He grabbed a dagger and stood between the French and the chest. His eyes were burning with determination, and his hands did not tremble. "Step back, or I will kill you for this," he shouted in French, knowing the language perfectly. Beauvais grinned. He was not afraid of the armed servant, but his determination inspired respect. "Monsieur," he said, slowly putting his sword back into its sheath, "tell me what is in the chest, and perhaps I will let you go." Andrei was silent. He knew that the Frenchman could not be trusted. His combat readiness did not leave him. Realizing that fighting armed soldiers was certain death, Andrei decided to act cunningly. He nodded towards the chest. "In it are the letters of the Russian emperor. Open them, if you do not fear his wrath." Beauvais frowned. He knew that if he found important documents, it could bring him glory in the eyes of Napoleon. But he also understood that if Andrei was telling the truth, the French marshal might prefer to destroy the documents in order not to incur Alexander's wrath. Using the confusion, Andrei suddenly threw a dagger at the lamp, plunging the room into semi-darkness. Then he grabbed the chest and rushed to the side exit. The French came to their senses after a few moments, but that was enough. Andrei ran out into the alley and disappeared into the labyrinth of Moscow streets. Andrei now had one goal: to leave Moscow and deliver the chest to Count Orlov. He knew that Kutuzov was in Tarutino, and that French patrols were patrolling the roads. He had to hide in basements, look for passages through the destroyed neighborhoods. In one of the shelters, he met a group of partisans who helped him get out of the city disguised as a peasant. But the French were on their guard. Beauvais knew that Andrei could not have gone far, and ordered that outposts be set up on all roads. On the third day of the journey, Andrei encountered a French patrol. He hid the chest in a ravine and tried to pretend to be a simple peasant, but the officer suspected something was wrong. "What do you have in your cart?" he asked. "Wheat for the family," Andrei answered, showing no fear. The French did not like his accent. One of the soldiers decided to check the cart, but at that moment, a shot rang out. Russian partisans jumped out of the forest, attacking the French. A short but fierce fight ensued. When the battle was over, Andrei, wounded but alive, reached the Russian troops. He was taken to Kutuzov's camp, where Count Orlov was already waiting for him. "You did it?" Orlov asked, helping the servant sit up. Andrei nodded, holding out the chest. The Count opened it and, looking through the letters, turned pale. They contained evidence of the betrayal of several nobles who collaborated with the French. Kutuzov, having read the letters, nodded silently. He knew that this information would help cleanse the ranks of the army before the decisive battle. Andrei closed his eyes from fatigue. He knew that his mission was accomplished. There was still war ahead, but thanks to him, Russia had a chance.